Folks, it's me, Chris, with Gigman's Life. Yeah, baby, it's a Gigman's Life indeed. And of course, on this channel, we're all about the gig economy, freelancing on the internet, ride share, delivery. Hey, whatever isn't OF and makes you money, we'll talk about it and, we might try it. But of course, if you wouldn't mind, hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and just take a moment for this. Because, of course, we got to go and throw that up every so often just because it's one of those good things to do, just to cover our ass. But, of course, there's always the entertainment of, as you see the thumbnail, uh, is ChatGPT scaring Hollywood or scares Hollywood? Honestly, it does. Because I want to just do the thing. If I was to go and take what I'm working on right now, because yes, I have other interests. I've always been creative minded, you know, just not around the right people to get things done creatively at times, and then doing things that supposedly help creation, but just leave you down in the ground with a bag of Doritos at 2 o'clock in the morning going, oh, this would be so cool. But with having a production assistant and going like this and saying, you know what, I'm going to throw some of my ideas against the wall on it and generate a show Bible. And yes, the thumbnail is actually generated from that show Bible. And I asked the serious question: what is the current breakdown of all the time I've spent on this, and what would it be equivalent to in uh studio time, and production, everything. So this is what it generated. Development time, writing, structure, 25 to 40 hours. So, about day or two. Business and systems, about 15 to 25 hours. That's just other bullshit. Visual and pitch, 15 to 30 hours. Rewrites and refining, 20 to 40 hours. So estimated about 75 to 135 hours of time put into this. Solo creator against the studio model, 75 to 135 hours, compared to weeks, months, and possibly even years. Cost so far, this is just coming up with the pitch and a whole starter pack. This is not even episodes. It's got the general overlying arches, so that there is a lot to go and get into. But when you're talking just about this, $20 a month for ChatGPT, and I haven't gotten through the first month. And how much it helps me produce this. So studio model, you're talking weeks to months. And from 5,000 to 25,000. And this is old slide because the current estimate, because I ask it to estimate every so often, is about 30,000. And traditional production costs, you're talking writer's room, 3,000 to 15,000, development 2,000 to 10,000, pitch and visuals $500 to $3,000. And let's just go and get this. The last part is the biggest part. The 2 a.m. production team, because I was up for parts doing little tweaks to the story. Just the basic story, the overarching. And to have writers editor, research, structuring, pitch builder at 2 a.m., and I was up until about 4. The cost of $20 a month to have that ability, yeah, that should scare people. But what really scares Hollywood on that is that that's how they hid a lot of cost, especially when they're producing and doing things. There's a lot of stuff like the Batgirl, which was slated to come out and didn't because Warner Brothers saw that as a viable tax deduction to just produce a whole movie, be right there to go and put it out and just say, nah, we ain't doing that. You know, because it was better for them to take the loss than the possibility of it actually becoming a hit, or that they saw enough of the winds taking a sample of how it's blowing and realized that they just made a pile of shit. We don't know. We're never going to know about that. But if something gets passed, because this is actually something I marketed into this, is that this show Bible is designed in a particular way to show how the sauce is made. That you know, this is where they hide that production cost. Because say if this went to a movie and everything, and I put down as I want gross, these are all the things, all the bills that they'll come up with during times to go and suddenly make it that I didn't make any money. It didn't make any money. It could go and have billions come in, but supposedly it didn't make any money on the gross. And the gross is before any of the other people are supposed to get paid. You're supposed to get paid first. So, and yes, they are getting that bad in playing Hollywood accountant, because you can check out the horror stories of a lot of people and a lot of lawsuits that were generated, especially during the pandemic, especially with Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow movie that really should have came out before Captain Marvel did, because that whole time frame was kind of bullshittery. But they wanted to go and introduce the new Black Widow afterwards and have that tie-in that went and made somebody look like they were a $1 billion franchise on their own, but just was that filler that somewhat started killing off the rest of the universe they're building. And the only thing that's being a real major lifeline right now is the property that Marvel doesn't still fully own, which is the Spider-Man universe. And the fact that they have gotten Tom Holland and Sony to be in this project of joint production, so that it allows them to get Doctor Strange, the Hulk, some other characters that have been in the Spider-Man universe. So, when you look at this and you think, wait a minute, 100, you, I spend time, I go and tell it to go and do it, I go and drive. That's literally what I've been doing, is that I listen to what it says and then I tell it more, and it builds it in, it corrects, I go and tell it, and then I read it through, then I have it read through completely. And actually, I've been having people, this is one of the reasons why it has to be done someplace else. But anyways, folks, at the end of the day, when you're seeing that you can spend $20 a month to come up with what would be around $30,000 to produce in the Hollywood structure system for a person to pitch this, Yeah, you can see why the writers union is scared shitless, and they're pulling their bullshit to the point where um all these guilds are getting that moment of saying, whoa, wait a minute, our unions who run us, who do all the work inside, are now going, don't go and replace us with AI. You know, you haven't been giving us enough love and enough money, because there's no money there anymore, folks. To be honest, the truth, this is where, back in the 90s, I remember that, you know, we were talking, and you've seen it with the Marvel movies and everything else. These IPs produce so much money that now, once you're saying that you don't have to have the writers in the writing room to go and just generate the pitch, to go and generate the idea, to go and put this forth to a serious production, you know, where's the issue? And then, since I'm not just the only person doing this, how many pitches are they getting now? How full is their email with ideas coming in? And are we just throwing it at a machine that's going to go like this and say, you know what? Guess what? You know, all these people that are pitching this shit to us, let's go through all of it. We'll feed it to our AI and see which ideas come out. Because this is all what can be happening. And it could be happening behind the scenes with Chat GPT as well. You know, because somewhere, no matter how much I'm paying, there could be in the policies of using this that they own the IP, which would be rather scummy. But hey, folks, you know what? I hope you have a very profitable day out there. You know, this is just not about everything else going on, because there's another thing that's brewing, especially in DoorDash, that all these apps, I'm going to tell you, are going to be playing the game of, we're going to crank up the volume on the rules that already been there. We're going to not go and pay attention to some of the things that we can pay attention to, because we're always tracking that GPS data. So that's a whole nother video. So people, I hope it's a profitable day, a safe day for you. And please always make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Check out the other videos that are just popping up, and have a good one.